Everybody, welcome back to Equine Photo School. You know me, Oli Moss. We're doing the booth thing, setting up. We'll talk to you about the bones of your booth, okay? The core, the structure, the tables, the chairs. Sometimes there's even going to be a tent involved, okay? There's a lot of stuff that goes into this booth thing, and we're breaking down each individual piece as we go through, and we're trying to group them together into like little videos, right? So today we're going to talk about these tables. We're going to talk about some chairs. We're going to talk about tents and what you need to have to get started, and then what you can eventually kind of evolve into, right? So you don't have to go through. I spent some real money on all of this stuff. Like, I didn't start with this, right? First things first, shop your house, okay? So we've talked about it on the podcast before. We've talked about it in other things that aren't related to this booth. But you want to start out by shopping your house, okay? Go around your house, look around. Do you have a TV at your house? I bet you do, okay? Is your spouse going to be mad? You know, your significant other going to be upset if you take the TV with you? Maybe don't take the TV, okay? Don't blame it on me if they're mad at you. But that's what I used to do. I used to just go through. I had roommates in college. I said, tough luck, this is my TV. I'm taking it for the weekend. Bye. So I would load up that TV, throw it on my arm, go throw it in the back of my truck, and take off. I'd hook up my laptop to it or whatever. You know, back in the day when we were just getting started for the Mac Minis, and we would just show on that. When we showed on that since day one. I had a 46-inch TV. Eventually I got all 50-inch TVs that were 4K. That old 46 was only 1080p. It looked miserable. So get yourself at least 4K, 50-inch. Anyways, shop your house, okay? See if you got tables at your house. See if you've got chairs at your house. I had this little card table, like you've seen them, you know. They're like a 3.5-foot square, little flimsy legs. It's rickety. But I showed pictures on that. I made a lot of money on that little table, and it came with 4 chairs. It was before I started all these images. It was just this rickety old table. I just had it though. It was what I had. It was free. It didn't cost anything because I'd already paid for it years ago before that. We used to, you know, sit around and play poker on Thursday nights at my old, you know, after work at my old job. And so I took that and I put a TV on it. I put a little laptop on it. You know, I put the printer on the ground underneath of it. I had a printer just like this one here. And I just shopped my house. I went around trying to find things that I already owned that I could use in my business. And that's what you want to have, this mentality, right? Then eventually you're going to want to get some tables that are more like this. These are split in the middle. They fold in half. They're cheap. They're like 50, 60 bucks at Walmart. And you can put a bunch of stuff on them. They will bow in the middle. That's why the heavy stuff is on the outside. They're nice. They're heavy duty. They last a long time. They're easy to get. If one of these breaks, you can go to a Walmart nearby, and I bet you they got them in stock. Get these fitted tablecloths for them. Because the table is so common, the size is common, the tablecloths are cheap. They're like 15 bucks for these cheap tablecloths. I get black to reduce glare. It fits with my vibe, my brand. Whatever, you get whatever colors you want. You get your logo plastered on them if you want to spend the money. I don't see any reason to spend the money on that. Personally, I like, you know, I like these because they're disposable. 15 bucks, they get dirty all the time. I'm buying new ones frequently. No big deal. You can get them on Amazon, super duper cheap. Now, when it comes to chairs, you want to have better chairs than those ones that came with that card table in the beginning, because those didn't last me very long. And I had quite a few, well, 4, because it came with 4 chairs. So I had 4 people that were fairly upset with me that their chair broke while they were looking at pictures. A couple of them were kids, luckily. No older people got hurt. But you want to have good sturdy chairs, okay? Walmart sells them for like 10 bucks, 15 bucks. Maybe they're 25 bucks, inflation. I don't know, who knows. But they can hold like 300 pounds, and they're just a folding chair. We'll put one up on the screen here. Simple little folding chair. Something like that will work. Some of them have a little bit of padding that sucks anyway. But, you know, for your customers, for your booth crew, it's plenty good. It's good. They fold, they stack up, they, you know, they go in your storage unit or whatever. They don't take up a lot of space when you're traveling, which is nice. A chair like this is like a $2,500 or $3,000 chair. You don't need anything like this. I just brought it from my office to kind of show you, you know, sitting in, so I could do some shots sitting here. But you don't need something like that. But having a nicer kind of office chair for your, you know, booth manager is kind of nice. It's a nice to have, it's not a need to have. Everybody can be on folding little cheapy chairs to start with, and then eventually you can upgrade into better things when you know, get all this extra money because you're making a lot of money selling pictures, right? And that's our whole goal here, is to help you make more money, and then you want to help your crew by having more comfortable places for them to sit and better places for them to work and less rickety tables. You know what I mean? Like, making the working environment for your booth crew better is important, right? They're your employees, you need to take care of them. The last thing I want to talk to you real quick about is a tent. If you're selling outside, if you're shooting outdoor events, you're probably going to need a tent of some kind. Those easy pop-up tents, we'll put one on the screen here. Those are kind of your bare minimum. They start at like 150, 200 bucks. I would spend at least $200 on one. Don't go cheap. Your entire everything is going to be in there. And there's this thing called wind, which is just wreaks havoc on tents. And I don't book any events, or the last like 2 years I booked like maybe 2 events outdoors. One of them was fairly big in Vegas, so I put this tent, I'll show you on the screen. That was a huge tent. It's 20 foot by 20 foot. It was extremely heavy duty from Extreme Tents, or whatever their brand is, like Extreme Tents. That tent was about $4,000. It was a lot of money, right? It's a ton of money to spend on just a tent, but it's 20 by 20 because we would put up a bunch. We filled that thing up with viewing stations and a printing station. We had a big display in the middle, and it was like this thing where people could come in one door. Is all black. Number one, because it reduces glare on all these screens. You can see all of these screens here, whether it's your person that is your booth manager that's editing pictures, or all of your customers that are buying pictures on this screen. Those screens have a ton of glare. And if you can have a black tent, you have like a dark room, basically. It's like almost like old school photography, right? So we have this dark room that we are in that reduces glare, makes it easier on everybody's eyes. It's easier for them to buy pictures. Yes, it gets hot in there. Yes, it is kind of miserable, but I would put up air conditioners in there. Like, I literally had household kind of like, or a portable air conditioner, whatever, and I would just blast that air in. I'd open up the side for them, and so there was a split in the side. I just blast air in, you know, maybe a couple directions. I don't ask, I just do. You know, I just like, hey, if you guys are sweating, it's miserable for you, it's miserable for my employees, which is number one concern. And happy employees make happy customers, and happy customers buy photos, okay? So keep everybody happy, keep that area nice and cool or warm. I bring heaters, I bring air conditioners, I bring whatever it takes to get that climate just right so people are happy and they want to buy. They're in the mood to buy, right? If somebody, it's kind of a tangent, but if somebody's too cold, they want to get out of there and go where it's warm. If somebody's too hot, they want to get back in where the air conditioning is, okay? So you want to keep them in your booth long enough to buy pictures. Get them in there, keep them in there just long enough. Once they buy, get them out. But you might need a tent if you're shooting outdoors, which if you're watching this, you're probably in that realm where you're not booking all indoor events yet. For me, that's my preferred, right? I didn't have to set up a tent. I hate the wind. I hate that it blows tents around. Yes, you can weight them down. I put buckets, big old giant buckets with water on that big tent to keep it from blowing around. And that tent was heavy all by itself, but all these other little tents, I have burned through a ton of those little easy up tents because the wind catches them, rips them away. It usually damages some equipment. Sometimes some people get hurt. You don't want that. We've had them zip tied and tied and rope tied, all kinds of things to like panels and fences and whatever, and they've still blown away. So I hate tents, but you got to have something, right? The ultimate would be like a fully decked out trailer, but I doubt if you're watching this right now that you are to that point, right? That's like the cream of the crop right there, is where you got like this semi trailer that you back up and you sell pictures out of, right? You roll up the doors, boom, there it is. But here's something that's like simple and easy to set up. I just want you to get some tables, get some chairs, get a tent if you've got to, and start setting up a booth somewhere. Okay, that's it. See you in the next video. Subscribe, like, you know the drill.